guys, so I'm going to be doing I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. I have little Liam right here being quiet for the time being. So if you hear some baby noises, that's just him. So anyway, this video is going to be about my experience exclusively pumping. I have some notes, so I'm going to just start right into it. I started exclusively pumping, well, I started pumping when Liam was 6 days old. That was when I first pumped. I was having a lot of issues with him latching on and everything like that. So that was my first pump. At my first pump, I got, how many ounces? I don't know. But the first day that I pumped, I think I pumped 3 times and I got 5.5 ounces that entire day. So yeah, I did. I kept a notepad, so I still have it. And so I have like my first pump, what time I started, what time I ended, how many ounces I got. 3 ounces the first time I pumped, then 1.5, then 1.5. So I mean, it's very fun to see like your first pump to how much you could go to. So anyway, the first pump, first day I got 5.5 ounces. After about a week of pumping, I was averaging around, after a week, I was getting like 18 ounces a day. So after months, I think I established my supply at around 1.5, 2 months of pumping, and I would get to probably 25 ounces a day, a little more, a little less on average. I think the most I pumped in a day was like close to 40 or 35 or maybe 40 one time. I did notice that, like, I remember one night I stayed at my mom's house because Larry was working overnight or something like that. So Liam and I spent the night at my mom's house, and she had cooked all of this food. So I was eating a lot of food, drinking a lot of juice, drinking a lot of water. And I think that day I pumped like 40 ounces at my mom's house. That was the most I had ever pumped. So I will say diet is very key in, you know, building your milk supply. And a couple of times when I was pregnant, well, excuse me, a couple of times, you know, after I had Liam, like, I wanted to lose the weight quicker because I had lost, like, I gained like 30 pounds and I had lost like 20, but, you know, I was still holding on to like these 10 pounds and I would fluctuate up and down. But stay within that 10 pounds. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna start a diet, or, you know, things like that. But, you know, when I did, I did see like a little bit, you know, going on with my milk supply. My sister would say, oh no, you can't. I would say, oh well, I'm gonna try to go vegan like Beyonce and everything. My sister would say no, because it's, you know, you want to keep your milk, you know, supply up for your baby. And, you know, I did notice that like Liam would get full off of my breast milk pretty quickly. My milk was fatty. Like, you could tell if your milk is fatty because once it's refrigerated, it sort of separates, or it would, like, within the bottle, you could sort of see like the fat separate from the milk. So anyway, when I first started pumping, I did supplement. So I think I started when he was 6 days. So up until he was like 2 weeks old, I supplemented. But then by the time he was 2 weeks old, I had enough. My milk supply was very high where I didn't have to supplement anymore. So from 2 weeks up until 8.5 months, he got breast milk only. So I stopped pumping at around 8.5 months. Because it was just, my milk supply had dipped, and throughout that 8.5 months, my milk supply would go down and come up, go down and come up. You know, it would depend on a lot of different factors. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but at 8.5 months, the main reason why I stopped is because, you know, Aunt Flo came back, you know, TMI, but my period did return, and I was disappointed because, you know, I was very happy not having a period, you know, of course, all through pregnancy, and then up to till he was 8.5 months old. But when it did come back, I was surprised because, you know, I had went back to work when he was 4 months old. So, you know, when you go back to work, and I will pump at work twice a day, I will pump at home twice a day, and it was a lot with traveling and carrying ice packs. He's so sleepy looking at me. It was a lot traveling and carrying ice packs and everything, but I did it, and I was determined. I had like 2 or 3 girls at work who pump, you know, within my office. So it was like, okay, you know, they could do it, I can do it. And they were really encouraging. They gave me a lot of tips and support. My sister, you know, would pump at work. So I had, you know, a lot of, you know, encouraging people around me. And I knew I could do it. So I did it for a long time, you know, for I guess 4.5 months at work. But towards the end, it got a lot. And then, you know, it's just you have to carry a lot of bags and everything like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discourage any women who are working moms. If you do return to work, definitely pump, and your job should accommodate you. But when my period came back, I said, oh no, because it came back on a Monday, and I was just like, really, is this happening? So Monday I go into work, and I have like cramps, and I'm like, this is like, of course, my first, you know, menstrual in a long time. And I just wasn't, like, I was pumping and I was having cramps, and I was getting a little bit of milk because, of course, your milk supply sort of goes down when your menstrual does return, but it can go back up. But after that, I was just like, I think I'm going to stop at this point, you know, because, yeah, I was just sort of done at that point. So anyway, one tip that I will say, when you do want to stop pumping, I do think you should try to supplement with some formula in the meantime, because I'll call them back, because when I did try to start putting Liam on formula, we tried the powder because we had a bunch of free samples of powder formula, and so we would try, and he would gag, and he would be like, no, like he did not want that. He wanted my breast milk. And so, like, you know, I had a little bit of breast milk, and I would say, you know, I have some in the refrigerator and I got a pump, but, you know, we can give him this breast milk, because he wouldn't take the formula. And so we went through like 2 different Enfamils and 1 Similac, all 3 powders that he did not like. So we ended up using an Enfamil pre-made formulas that he finally took to and would drink. But those are extremely expensive. But that's what we are using now. So $25.99, you know, at least 2-3 times a month for formula. But at the same time, you know, it's worth it, because your baby has to eat. And, you know, Larry and I, we cannot complain, because we did, you know, only give him breast milk for 8.5 months. And it's a lot of women who cannot produce or don't have the means to have a pump, or their baby never latches, who have to do formula from day one. So, you know, I can't complain too much. But a couple of topics I talked about: working and pumping. You know, you can do it. I would encourage you to buy 2 sets of pump supplies. So you can keep one at home, and then you can travel with one. So that's what I would do. Like, I would pump at home, put that in the sink, and then that would get washed. And then, you know, I would have my dry pump supplies, my second pair that I would go to work with, use that. And then I would come home, you know, soak that, and then I would have the dry ones that I used in the morning, and I would use that. And so, you know, like, I would go back and forth. So that was very helpful. You don't wash as much. I talked about weaning. When you are ready to stop pumping and start transitioning your baby to formula, or even whole milk if he's or she is after a year old, I will say try to sneak some in before, you know, you have to completely stop pumping, or before your baby's first birthday, because they may not like it. So you have to sort of teach them to like it. When I talked about your milk supply going up and down, that did happen to me a couple times, and I think a factor of it was when I got sick. Of course, you know, life is life. You will have, you know, illness. You know, at one point I had got a stomach bug. Me and my sister had ate at a restaurant. I will not name it, but we ate at a restaurant, and like we both went home and was throwing up like all night, and we were so sick to our stomach. And so I was calling my doctor, like, my baby only drinks breast milk. Like, can I still pump? And I, you know, I googled it, and a lot of, you know, things online so you can still give your baby the breast milk. I had one, I think the pediatrician got right back to me, and she said it's fine to give your baby the breast milk. And then I had also contacted my OBGYN to get her opinion. She got back to me like a couple days later, and she said no, just go ahead and dump the milk. So I had went ahead and gave him the milk, because Larry was just like, he should be fine to drink it. So I went ahead and gave him the milk, and he did seem fine. He didn't get sick. But a second time I got a stomach bug, and this time I wasn't throwing up, but I did have like the bubble guts. And I did give him that breast milk, and I felt like his stomach began to get the bubble guts, and he started having diarrhea. So I would say, like, you know, you have to use your own discretion. If you want to give your baby your breast milk when you are sick, consult your doctor and everything. But I do think like it does vary. So a couple of key things with, okay, I'll come right back. Okay, sorry, quick intermission. So a couple of more things that I did want to talk about with exclusively pumping, or a couple more tips, is when you are pumping, breast massage is very good to do. And when you are having a letdown is basically once the pump gets to going and you start pumping the milk out, you'll feel like a tingling, or you'll feel like your breasts get full, and you'll feel sort of like a relief. And so what I would do is just sort of, you know, squeeze the top of your breast like this. And, you know, and I would feel like the milk would squirt out more, versus if you just let the machine do the work, you'll see a squirt. But if you do sort of do some breast compression, you'll see more milk come out. So a good double electric pump, I have it packed right here. I use the Medela pump, and I'm not sure, I know they have like in-style, freestyle, I'm not sure what kind this is, but I use the Medela pump in-style advance. So this is it. This was actually my sister's pump that she used with my niece. She pumped for like until my niece was like 7 months or so. So when I gave birth, my niece was, I don't know, like 16 months old. So this had just been sitting there. So she gave me her pump, and I love this pump. I got so much milk from this pump. This pump did me extremely well. So you will need a good pump, a good cover up. Got this from Babies R Us. So I would use this when I would pump at work. You can also use that for breastfeeding, obviously. And this is how I would carry my pump supplies. I use all Medela pump supplies. So this is how I would carry it. I would carry 2 of these, and then I would carry a extra storage bottle, and then of course some extra caps in case your storage bottle got full. You could just remove the top and put a cap on one of these. And then of course I would use my flanges. So you have to find, you know, flanges that fit your breast size. It's very important, because if you don't have correct fitting flanges, then you won't have a comfortable pump, and also you won't, like your milk won't come out good. So it's all a learning process. I remember when I first started pumping, like the milk would be coming back towards my body instead of coming, you know, to the bottle. So, you know, I just had to learn how to use the pump. So it's all a learning experience. Okay, and I think that's about it with the pump bag and everything like that. This, I used the Medela Tender Care Lanolin. This is perfect. I will apply this to my nipples before each pump. So I know some women don't do that. It's safe for your baby to eat if he or she does have some of this, because you can use it before you breastfeed. But it was sort of like, it gave my breast or my nipples like some, I guess, lubricant, so it's not like pumping and dry. So some people can use olive oil as well, but I would use this. And I would go through these bottles to the point, it was to the point where I could not pump if I did not have my Lanolin. So, and then of course, breast pads are extremely important. I used to leak so much when I first started pumping. It was a lot. Like, I would feel full, and then I would feel the release. So I love that these certain, what is this? The Lanis, I don't know how to pronounce this. I want to say Lanish, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this. But this is the brand of breast pads that I use. I also use the breast milk storage bags. I mean, I had a freezer full of breast milk too. Like, Larry and I would go to Costco, and it was like, we can't get this big bag of frozen chicken because we have so much breast milk in the freezer. Like, I had a lot of breast milk saved, but like I said, I ran out of frozen breast milk, and so I had to stop pumping when I stopped pumping. But I did have a lot saved at one point. But these are the bags that I use. I absolutely love these bags. They go up to 6 ounces. They're so neat. There's, you know, I did have a couple busts on me, but when I would freeze them and then defrost them, and I would see that they were leaking at some point. I don't know how that happened. It could have been my fault, because sometimes I would just stuff them in a freezer. I did have like a method where I had them all in shoe boxes. I had a big shoe box that I had with boots, and then another shoe box, and so I would just stuff the big box with boots. I had that full of like 3 rows of frozen milk, and then I had a regular shoe box. I had 2 rows of frozen milk and some on the side. Then I had another formula box that I had got a sample of 2 formulas, and so that was full of milk. So I had a lot of milk at one point, and I think since I sort of stacked them on top of each other, that could have, you know, scratched some of the bags so they would leak. But at that point when they did leak, I had so much milk that it didn't even matter to me. But I would definitely recommend this brand for freezer bags, as well as for the breast pad holders. I got this Amita breast pump for free through my insurance, and I used it once, and I think my boobs are too large for this. It just did not work for me. You had to, I don't know, I can't really give a good review on this, but I just didn't like it. My sister's pregnant now, so I'm giving all of this to her today. So I did want to do this video today. But I also had the Amita pump that I used once, and I did not like it when I used it. But I will say, if you guys are insured, your insurance should supply you with a free breast pump for you to have. So I think that's it. When you are pumping, I encourage you to relax. Have 1 or 2 bottles of water. Drink those down as you are pumping. Join the Baby Center exclusively pumping message board or forums. Read up on that. It's so much information. Kelly Mom is also a great website. Do your research. When I would pump, I would have my baby right there, like in front of me, playing or sleeping. I would usually, and when you first start pumping exclusively, you will have to pump just like you're feeding your baby. So I would encourage you, give your baby a bottle, you know, let him or her go to sleep and then pump. Or, you know, like anytime you feed your baby, try to pump right then. Like when I first started pumping, I would pump 8 times a day. Once I established my supply, I think I was able to drop to like 5 times a day. When I went back to work, it went to 4 times a day, then 2 times a day, then 1 a day when I began to stop pumping. So I think that is it with exclusively pumping. I want to encourage all you moms out there, new moms, current moms, you can do it. It's a great thing to give your baby breast milk. You'll save a ton of money. It is time consuming. You do have to have a lot of patience with it. There are a lot of ways to build your supply. If your supply is depleting over time, there are ways to build your supply. I would drink the mother's milk tea from Whole Foods. A hot shower can help. I took fenugreek a couple of times. My sister got me these, but I only took them a couple of times. One time I did take them and I had a ton of milk the next morning. I took some of these and I would drink the tea at one point when my milk supply depleted, and I woke up and I pumped like 15 ounces. So, you know, they helped me once, but other times I would take them, I didn't really see much of a difference. So, I think that is it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless and stay tuned. And give you guys a glimpse of Liam sleeping. He looks so adorable. Okay. Come on, camera. This is Liam sleeping. He was awake when I started the video, but now he's asleep. This teddy bear. He's in a little Jordan warm-up jersey and shorts. I put the little frog on him. I mean bunny. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. God bless.